What first comes to my mind is an example Srila Guru Maharaj gave, being noted for his use of analogy, example, etc. And he mentioned that, I'm paraphrasing here, he's talking about digestion and what's the other word for when we're not assimilation? There's another word that that indicates health and physiological processes. Well, maybe I'll think of it later. The word escapes me right now. But in other words, someone's ingesting foodstuffs and their body's going through the process of digestion, and it's being distributed to their body. They're getting strength and help from that. They may not be able to describe that. Nutrition, that's the word I was looking for. Right? Like you have a nutritionist, they can explain many things about nutrition. This type of diet will be good for you. This will be, under certain circumstances, do not take this thing. They can explain what's going on in your body. And their knowledge and their expertise is of great value to us who want to be healthy. Right? But for those who are under the care of nutritionists, they don't need to know all those things. I mean, that can sound a little patronizing, but it's true. In other words, the average person, they don't need, or just say for the sake of example, you don't need to understand the process to benefit from it. That's the point I mean to make. Right? So if you have a good diet and you're under the care and guidance of an expert nutritionist, you can expect to be in a healthy condition. Healthy, happy, and holy, as someone used to say. But then there are those who almost by nature are inclined to study these things. They want to understand what are the processes by which how does it all take place? We put particular food in, and how does it get broken down? And you can have a general knowledge about that, and you can have a very specific, refined graduate and postgraduate study of how all this works. And that kind of person may end up becoming a nutritionist. And then others will get guidance from them, be put under their care, and benefit from that. So I think this is an appropriate example. When people come in connection with Krishna consciousness, they benefit from it, regardless of their level of understanding of what the process is, or it may even exceed their capacity to analyze it, or to even appreciate analysis of it. Right? We would say, well, in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Rupa Goswami is giving a particular type of analysis that's very valuable to understand. And I'll say this, some of the devotees that he's using, maybe many, maybe most of the devotees that he's using as examples in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu to analyze devotion, they may not be engaged in that type of analysis. Just to make a point, we could say. Particularly Jnana-shunya bhaktas. So sometimes Guru Maharaj will remind us, he'll say, everyone in Vrindavan is not an acharya and in a acharya position. See, that's a special delegated or special delegation from Krishna, right? That Guru Tattva is awakened in a particular individual, or to the extent of being an acharya. Right? At the same time, he says, when Yashoda expresses something just from her heart, her devotional expression. He said, like a volcanic eruption, everyone is inundated with that. And all the devotees are happy and they're upgraded in their Krishna consciousness by hearing these things. Just as when Vishwanath Chakrabarti Thakur is commenting on the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, and I forget the Sanskrit word now, but the type of slokas that are considered regulators, or through them many things can be understood. So there's one particular sloka that is praising the position of Yashoda in comparison with others. And understanding this, or comprehending it, we can understand many other things from that. Anyway, that what is given there is talking about Yashoda, the good fortune of her position when she sees the Virat Rup of Krishna. It does not impede her devotional mood or sentiment. So someone like Vishwanath Chakrabarti, he can analyze this. Yashoda is giving a spontaneous expression. Right? She's the supreme, Jnana Shunya Bhakta, Raga Bhakta, the Asraya Vigraha of Vatsalya Rasa. It's the natural flow of her heart. Right? We don't hear her, at least ostensibly, analyzing such things. It's just very natural for her. Someone like Vishwanath Chakrabarti Thakur, he will come and say, what Nanda Maharaj says here is on this level, Yashoda on this level, and comparative analysis between Devaki and Yashoda. And even at one point in making such analysis, Vishwanath Chakrabarti Thakur says, he checks himself and says, we can't discuss this anymore. Because we revere Devaki, we revere Yashoda. If we analyze too much, there's possibility of committing offense. So actually, Guru Maharaj, quoting Bhaktivinoda Thakur, says that the analytical position, which is concomitant with Madhyamadikari, the progressive, the middle position, right? Third class position, not analytical. First class is not so analytical, actually. But one's a Jnana Shunya Bhakta, one is like a Karma Misra Bhakta. But in the middle stage, the intermediate stage, this analysis may be there. And it can be dangerous. One can make mistakes. The intellect, one can be carried away by intellectual analysis that ends in offense. As we see by the casual analysis of neophyte devotees, they hear some higher things and then start insensitively applying them. When the actual experts, they're very, very cautious. When they make some analysis, a little bit, and then stop. They don't go too far for fear of offense. Just as when so many devotees came to Srila Guru Maharaj, and they're hearing him make some very high comparisons, but very cautiously, very carefully. He himself said, why am I always saying Dial Nitai, Dial Nitai, Dial Nitai? He said, because engaged in analytical discussion, it's possible that some sort of offense was committed, or speaking on something high, potentially something offensive. Okay? He said, if I take the name of Nityananda Prabhu, I'm reinstated in my normal position. So at any rate, at one point he heard that some devotees, hearing some comparative analysis he made about Madhura Rasa, Vatsalya Rasa, and others, they were deprecating the position of Vatsalya Rasa in his name. So when this came to him, his exact words, he says, my heart is mortified to hear these things. particularly that in his name this was being said. And he expressed, what are they thinking? What is Vatsalya Rasa? Right? Tatasta Vichar, we see here, Jarje Rase Hoise Sarvotam, and Ramananda Sambad, it's mentioned. Whatever rasa you're experiencing, you think that's the best. Just as when Saraswati Thakur was given a full plate of prasadam, and the devotees would say, oh, Prabhupada, which preparation do you like the best? And he said, each one tastes better than the other one. Right? So that's it. So whatever ras you're tasting, and this we're talking of the higher substance, then one will think, what could be better than this? Impossible to conceive anything could be better than this. But the second half is tatasta vichar. Tatasta vichar tarotam. Through impartial analysis, we can understand that this one has superior qualities, this is superior to that, and Madhura Rasa has all of the qualities of all the rasas, and therefore is supreme and is also known as the sweet rasa. But it says the key expression here is tatasta vichar, which means impartial analysis, non-prejudiced, unbiased, impartial analysis. So the implication is, the Rupa Goswami, here Ramananda Sambad, but is that normally one wouldn't be engaged in this sort of analysis. They're not thinking of one position as being superior to another. In fact, the beautiful thing we find in Srimad Bhagavatam, and what comes to mind is the last chapter of the Brihad Bhagavatamritam, the Goloka Mahatmya, begins with appreciation for the soil of Vrindavan. Right? The soil, the insects, like the bees, the birds, the bees, then the trees, plants. There's a gradation of appreciation that is given there. Right? It proceeds along the lines of a crescendo, ultimately putting the spotlight on Madhura Rasa. But from the very beginning are all these slokas about how wonderful just Vrindavan is, the soil of Vrindavan. Like we hear in Charitamritam, Vaikuntya Pritivyadi Sakala Chinmoy. Priti means the soil, the land. Even that is Chinmoy. So they're praising that. And Raghunath Das Goswami, Yat Kinchit Trigu Maki Katamukam Goshte Samastamitat Sarvanandamaya Mukunda Doitam Lilanukulam Param. In this prayer, he's worshipping every aspect of the Dham as being Lilanukul, as favorable, promoting the Krishna Lila, the pastimes of Krishna. So, Braja Gopis praising the position of the trees of Vrindavan, the rivers in Vrindavan. So those who are in the highest position, they're full of heartfelt appreciation and praise for those who, by a comparative analysis, are in a lower position. Right? Sometimes also, they're even saying that, oh, we wish we were cowherd boys. Being cowherd girls, they can't accompany Krishna in the forest during the day. So they're thinking, well, it might be better to be a cowherd boy. Because then if we were this type of analysis they do. If we were cowherd boys, then we could play with Krishna, and that would be great in the daytime. Right? They're praising, they're saying, oh, look at these deer. The deer, husband and wife, both serving Krishna, but our husbands do not approve of us meeting with Krishna and serving Krishna. But here, husband and wife, together they're serving Krishna. That might be a better position. Right? So really, those in the highest position, they're appreciating even the least, right? As in, we can understand this by inference from the sloka Radha Mukunda Parasam Bhavagarma Bindu Nirmanchano Pakarani Krita Deho Laksham Utunga Sohrada Vishesha Prashat Pragalbam Devim Gunai Sulalitam Lalitam Namami. The least aspect of service, Lalita Saki has the greatest magnitude of intensity toward the least aspect of service. And, and Radharani, Hari Paranaka Koti Prishta Pardanta Simha Tatamapi Kalayantim Pranera Bishtadoham Madurakshi by Dagdadika Pramodita Madarakshi by Dagdadika. And if one is intoxicated by this concept, they find this appealing, this inverted way of viewing things, then they can really go deep into Krishna consciousness. It's not conventional analysis. That's the point. And so we have to check the intellect from it turning into intellectual analysis. Sometimes, in speaking with Srila Guru Maharaj, hearing from him, certain questions automatically came with it. I'd ask a question and maybe go further. But sometimes, if he detected is getting too much intellect coming, he'd stop and say, "You're going to break your head." I mean, are you going to go so high? And then crash, you're going to break your head. And Brihad Bhagavatamritam, which is a book, really, it's an analysis. If you think about it, it's a summary analysis of all the different levels of devotion in the form of this beautiful, enchanting story. But and everything there is very carefully presented. We are in the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. There's a sloka there that says, and I'm paraphrasing, but that Krishna appreciates when Krishna consciousness is presented through inference. To infer, inference means in a subtle way, without explicitly stating something, by inference, allusion, not illusion, but allusion. Krishna, he likes this way, just as we've told, and as an example, Braja Gopis, when Uddhava comes delivering the message to Krishna, from Krishna, to assuage the pains of separation, they're saying, "Oh, Krishna, he must be missing his mother and father. He must be missing the cows and the Jamuna." They name everyone but themselves. They don't say, "Does he miss us? Does he ever talk about us, remember us?" Instead, they're saying, he must miss his mother and his father and so many cowherd boyfriends and the beautiful forest of Vrindavan. And they're trying to conceal their position. So through concealing, there's revelation. That's generally the way. The things are being implied because it's so fine. So in Gopakumar, his first day in Goloka Vrindavan, he's got Krishna's flute because the gopis are trying to steal it. He's eating Manohar ladus given to him, made by Radharani, given to him by Krishna himself. And when he's reflecting on his good fortune in his first day, he says, that evening, the rendezvous between Krishna and Braja, there's nothing that can be said about that. So the Sambandha Gyana Acharya, Sanatana Goswami, he could have told another story. But he's Sanatana Goswami. He selected the perfect story, the story that you could hear and get the proper conclusion. And by inference, we can understand that another story similar to that could be told But the Sambandha Acharya wisely chose not to tell the parallel story because of our tendency to project, to make mundane projections in that plane. So he took the story of the cowherd boy. Sanatana Goswami is a manjari in the spiritual world. Why did he choose to tell the story of Gopakumar? It's not an accident. It's a very important point to grasp. Now, still, all devotees, the regular course of study, whether someone is inclined for analysis or not, the regular course of study is to hear Chaitanya Bhagavat, Chaitanya Charitamritam, Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Upadeshamritam, Bhagavad Gita, certain texts, to hear them. And we'll see in India, they can dutifully hear scriptures, whether someone has the capacity to make a comparative analysis of what is found there or not. They can hear these things, right? And repeat certain aspects of them because the heart finds them appealing. Like when Srila Gurudev commissioned Garga Sangita to be printed, he said something interesting. He said many things interesting in this regard, but one of the things that he said was that reading Garga Sangita, he could understand where so many stories he'd heard as a child from auntie and grandmother and elderly ladies in the village, where these stories came from. Because they weren't found in other conventional texts, then one could think, are they just concocted stories? Because, of course, there are many concocted stories that by Siddhantic analysis we may find faulty, anomaly, and unacceptable. But there are other stories that are Siddhantically substantial and correct. He said, so I understood, oh, they heard these stories, many of them come from here. So those ladies may not have been analytical by nature, but something in the telling of this story, the hearing, the heart resonated to. Right? Hridayena bhinu gyato yo dharmasta nibodhata. The source being nityam advesa ragibi, right? Vidyadbi sevita shadbi, nityam advesa ragibi, hridayena bhinu gyato yo dharmasta nibodhata. Their hearts resonated to hearing this, and in good faith, they passed it on to someone else. That's generally the method employed by the Braja Gopis. They're hearing the pastimes of Krishna and writing songs about that, singing songs, composing, composing, sharing those songs with others. We hear from Chakravarti Thakur in the 10th canto, Yashoda hears songs that gopis are singing, likes those songs, starts singing those songs herself. She's also composing some songs. But in a very non-academic, just heartfelt expression way. Automatically the heart is expressing itself. As one English poet used the expression, he said, in certain contexts, the heart leaps up, as if the heart is leaping, dancing, responding naturally to something. So we call that Jnana Shunya Bhakti, which appears to be an oxymoron, knowledge-free devotion. Right? We're saying, and those who possess that, they know more than anybody. Right? So it appears to be an oxymoron. But we'll see when the Braja Gopis, who Guru Maharaj says sometimes, in a charming way, he said, the half-civilized, stupid jungle girls of Vrindavan, that's how they're posing. When they descend in Gaur Leela, Jiva Goswami is also one of them. Right? Jiva Goswami is also a gopi, manjari in the spirit. And what is Jiva Goswami's seva here? And the unparalleled philosopher in the Gaudiya line. And let's say Sri Jiva Tejastiti, Srila Saraswati Thakur would be his modern day incarnation in the sense of counterpart. And Srila Gurudev points out, for Jiva Goswami's seva, he went to Varanasi and studied Sanskrit. Because he's going to have to defend the authenticity, the legitimacy, the substance of the writings of Rupa, Sanatan, Raghunath Das. So he actually goes to Sanskrit school. Of course, then what does he do? Harinam Amrita Vyakaran, which is so beautiful. A book that by Harinam, all different names of Krishna, you can learn Sanskrit. That shows something about the quality of the heart of Srila Jiva Goswami. Raghunath Das Goswami writing such beautiful Sanskrit in his books. Vilapa Kusamanjali, Mukta Charit, unparalleled beauty of conception and the qualities of Srimati Radharani. So, but what do we hear? These things are like Mukti, Mukuli Tanjali Sevate Sman, Dharmartha Kama, Samaya Pratiksha. These things are waiting to serve those higher devotees. In the case of the aspiring section, progressive devotion, second-class position, they're analyzing cautiously, carefully, trying to constrain intellectual analysis so that it doesn't descend from nirguna to a saguna or rajaguna, tamaguna activity. And Srila Guru Maharaj mentions it's possible for someone to go from the third-class position, bypassing the second-class position, to the first-class position by the association and service of a Mahabhagavata. But in an ideal situation, sometimes Srila Prabhupada Swami Maharaj, when you think of an ideal situation where we have like a Gurukula or an academy, a spiritual academy, and there our students will learn certain books and they'll be given the title Bhakti Shastri or Bhakti Vaibhav, different titles according to their, like in India, any Pandit, you've got to know Sat Darshan, 6 different types of philosophical systems. Then you're like, that's like a black belt for Pandits. 6 black belts. Sat Darshan, the different philosophies. Then you're a Pandit. But 2 things come to my mind. Guru Maharaj is telling one story where some foolish man goes to a Pandit. He says, I want to be a Pandit. Can you make me a Pandit? And he said, or when can I be a Pandit? He said, well, when what you know and what you don't know, it's all the same to you, then you're a Pandit. Then you'll be a Pandit. Oh. So the man goes off, and whatever learning he had, he forgot that. And he came back to the Pandit and he said, I think I'm a Pandit now. He goes, why? He said, well, whatever I know, I forgot that. I don't know that anymore. And of course, what I don't know, I'm in ignorance. So now it's all the same to me. What I know and what I don't know. That's not exactly what he meant. But Guru Maharaj, he had one teacher that he had a lot of regard for. And at the time, Guru Maharaj was around 23, and the man was like 80. And he had the Sat Darshan qualification. He knew all the 6 different philosophical systems. But Guru Maharaj was under the influence of Mahaprabhu's conception. So he turned to that man in a naive way, in a simple way. He said to him, with all your qualification, you should, he was thinking like in a very happy way, apply that great intellect you have and your scholarly abilities to the lotus feet of Mahaprabhu. Like Prabodhananda in one of his famous slokas in Chaitanya Chandramritam, he says, Dante nidaya trinakam pariornapatya kritva chakaku ahang etad satam vrinimi he sarva eva la sakalam eva vihaya dura Chaitanya Chandra charane kurutana ragan. Everyone loves this verse. Saraswati Thakur, Guru Maharaj, Swami Maharaj. And what it is, it's a very beautiful verse. He's saying, with folded palms, he's approaching someone and saying, my dear sir, you are such a great learned man. You're such a great learned scholar. You're respected in society. You're so exalted. I have one request from you. Certainly you'll grant that, being a generous, liberal, exalted personality. One request. Oh, what is that request? Forget everything you know. Forget all of it. And turn your attention to the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It's very beautiful. And I have only one request. What's that? Forget everything you know. And now we've come to the point. Really, we should forget everything we know or think we know and turn our attention to the lotus feet of Guru and Gauranga and be remade. Right? In the Bible, they like this saying, and God made man in the image and likeness of God. Okay. Be remade according to the conception of Guru and Gauranga, Gaudiya Darshan. I realized when I first came to Srila Guru Maharaj, he would say so many things, and because I had some past experience in Krishna consciousness, I would try and verify what he's saying as a reference point. Oh yes, Prabhupada once said, oh in the Bhagavatam, oh in Gita, oh yes, yeah. But then I realized after a while, he was saying things that was beyond my capacity to verify. Yet my heart was resonating, Hridayena binu gato, yodarmastani, that this is true. And it's beyond. And then I realized this tendency that I have to try and reference everything he says, it's obstructing my progress. So it will be better and faster if I forget everything. And then I mean, someone said, well, that's not possible. What I mean is suppress it. Whatever we think we know up to this point, suppress it. Just put it on the shelf for a while. Don't worry. Just put it on the shelf and put your full concentration on this. In this case, it was Guru Maharaj's conception. I thought, if I just fully concentrate and embrace what he's saying, these conceptions, then I'll be in a superior position to look at what I gathered previously and see, oh, this I don't need, that I don't need. Oh, this I'm keeping, this is good. Then I can do that very quickly. But if I'm holding on to these things and taking a little bit and a little bit and a little bit there and checking, suspicious, suspicion leads to suspension, then I'm not making progress. Put that aside, just fully concentrate. Then you'll be in an excellent position to see what's vahi and what's saragrahi. What's just the burden of carrying something along, the mental and intellectual burden of carrying certain types of knowledge. Just let it go. So when Guru Maharaj said to that man, you, with your fine intellect and your scholastic ability, why don't you turn your attention to the lotus feet of Mahaprabhu? He said, that man said, oh, my son, my boy, it's not just a question of intellectual, scholastic ability. He said, you need to get some mercy. Without a little bit of mercy, not possible. And really, and this man was not really a Vaishnava, more Shakta, Mayavadi type. But he's alluding to the famous statement in the Bhagavatam, Atapite deva padambujadvaya prasada leshanugrahita evahi. It's what Brahma's conclusion is. I tried with my intellect, with my 4 brains, or however it works, to understand Krishna. Right. Jnane prayasamudapasana eva. The intellect has to bow to the lotus feet of Guru and Gauranga. Then it has some possibility. I said to Guru Maharaj once, you're always talking Jnana Shunya Bhakti. I said, but you know, Sridharam Sakalaveti, you know everything, and you're talking Jnana Shunya Bhakti. I mean, this was like mildly humorous. So you have this great intellect, so much knowledge, and you're saying Jnana Shunya Bhakti, and you can analyze everything. And Guru Maharaj went, and he said, when intellect comes to serve, then it's okay. Not when it's in the master position, trying to master this, as academics do. Right? But when the intellect has come to serve, then the Gita sloka, Nacha tasman manusheshu kaschan me priyakritama, where Krishna is saying, actually, those who, and Guru Maharaj said, really this is a reference to the Madhyamadikari, because he said, those who are telling my devotees about this, they're most dear to me. So he said, that's a very good position to be in, to reproduce substantially Krishna conception for other devotees, the aspiring, developing servitors. So in that sloka in the Bhagavatam, given by Brahma, no less, reiterated by Gopinath Acharya, the Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, and what Vasudev Sarvabhauma, no one knows more than him. Just, we can think like that. Just think, at that time in India, he is the supreme knower of things. So that he could see when the guards went to oust Mahaprabhu from the Jagannath Darshan, where he's lying practically unconscious before the deity, and they're thinking some sentimental pilgrim. Sarvabhauma is, oh no, we know from the scriptures, I can see through analysis, this is Asta Sattvika Vikar, 8 different types of ecstatic. This is very rare. He can analyze that. And Gopinath Acharya is saying, you can understand that who before you is exhibiting Asta Sattvika Vikar, but you can't understand with your intellect that he's Swayam Bhagavan, Avatar Sar, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, lies before you. That you can't understand. What is Sarvabhauma saying? Well, what's the evidence of that you do and I don't? He said, because I can understand who he is and you can't. Seems like circular logic. And it is, but it works. That's why he says, Prasadale shanugrihita evahi. Without a little bit of mercy, then the intellect, it's on the glass bottle and the honey is on the other side. It can't, it's a barrier. Needs some mercy. And of course, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, this is the story of his receiving the mercy of Mahaprabhu. What is that sloka? It has kripa in it, written by Sarvabhauma. Anyway, it's 2 slokas of the famous 100 slokas, the Shatakam, quoted by him. Kripam, not Buddhi. Anyway, can't think of it. But he mentions himself as being receiving the mercy of Mahaprabhu. So, we can understand that, as I said, ideally speaking, there could be a context where spiritual experts are like through examination seeing, oh, this student is at this level of understanding and that level of understanding of the scriptures. But for the most part, we're giving recognition to devotional tendencies. Srila Gurudev himself, he liked this cricket expression, an all-rounder, means, and cricket, the sport, that's someone who's good at everything, all the different positions. And he himself, Srila Govinda Maharaj, was a perfect example of that. I've seen on his veranda in Calcutta, with many people there, many activities going on, he's composing Sanskrit or Bengali poetry. You would think, oh, you would need to go into a room, quiet, isolation. But because his unique abilities, his composing there, giving an instruction here, and he can do all different types of seva. So he liked that. We know we may have a tendency towards specialization, but we should remember, even Professor Senyal, we hear when he first came to Gaudiya Math, would sweep the stairs, because he thought, this is Radharani's major domo. Any domestic seva is Radha Dasyam. This is our goal. I want to do this. Right? To sweep. It's Radharani's directing all the seva. If you get a sweeper position from her, how exalted. That's his thinking. And he is the head examiner of PhDs from a university and ends up writing so many books and Gaudiya Math. But still, this is his vision. And we don't see the Braja Gopis in Vrindavan engaged in shastric study, but they know everything. But their posing is that, oh, we heard something. Madhu Mangal is a Brahmin. Remember, Krishna is a Vaishya, a cowherd. And his friends are all cowherds. So Madhu Mangal is their Brahmin advisor. But usually Krishna wants some advice from him, like how to deviate. Because he knows what all the rules and all the intricacies are. So Krishna needs some support. And so Madhu Mangal is always there to like, well, in the so-and-so Purana, it says. And Braja Gopis say, oh, I heard in one of those Puranas it also says another thing. We heard that from some Brahmins. And then they talk about books that don't exist. So, again, it's according to service necessity. Really, the devotees are detached. Their only interest is service. Srila Guru Maharaj mentioned that there was one devotee very happily engaged in service in Jagannath Puri. So some thought that maybe he's attached to that. Well, we'll think, well, very good, but they're like of a higher type. So to test him, he was told, oh, Prabhu, we need you to go serve in Mayapur. And he said, all right, when do I go? Very happy. So then they saw there's no mundane attachment. He only wants to serve. And where he's needed to serve, he will happily go there. And whatever that service is, he's happily doing that. So higher quality. Yeah. So if Jiva Goswami is needed to be a scholar, he's accepting that seva. I told Rupa and Sanatan writing that Digvijay Pandit comes, sign. They're like, sign, oh. Okay. They're writing Vidagdha Madhava, Brihad Bhagavatamrita, all these books. Oh, sign your, oh, yeah. Rupa Goswami. They don't want to be bothered by this kind of foolishness. And you can imagine that man, what his qualities could be, what he knows, Sanskrit, slokas from the Puranas, Upanishads, Vedanta, he knows so many things. It's not told that he was ignorant. If he's the Digvijay Pandit, we can understand he was like extremely learned. They're not going to waste their time arguing with him. But when he presents that paper to Jiva Goswami, and Jiva Goswami sees Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, let me see, throws his paper, and he goes, that's impossible. Then Jiva Goswami soundly defeats him. So Sahajiya commentators, they say, oh, Jiva Goswami, look at that ego. Doesn't possess the humility of Rupa and Sanatan, lower level. Whereas Saraswati Thakur was saying, no, this isn't for him. It's not a display of intellectual prowess. It's not an ego-driven defense, but rather in service, maintaining the dignity of the Guru Varga, in service to the Guru Varga, he's using his intellect, his scholarly ability for their dignity. And therein lies the difference. Is it seva? And we have to ask ourselves this question every day, regularly. Is it seva or is it ego-driven, intellectual-driven? We'll be cautious. Because we want the real thing. We want descending spiritual substance, not just that I could cleverly figure something out. We want revealed truth is what we're interested in. And as Gurudev would say, then you have to make yourself a fit receiver for that. And we know this arrogance of scholarship is repulsive to the descent of revealed truth. Jnane prayasamurupasana eva jivanti sanmukharitam bhavadiya vartam stane stita shrutigatam thanaban manovir ye prayaso jita jito piyasi taishtrilokyam. Krishna is ajita. The intellect cannot conquer ajita. But by submitting oneself, then who is ajita, unconquerable, becomes conquered by what? Shri Krishna Karshini Chasa, heart. So what's in the heart of the lady making the flower garland may be superior than the heart of the scholar. Srila Prabhupada's sister, when some big Gaudiya Math person said, oh, I hear Chaitanya Saraswati is not doing so well, meaning financially and otherwise. And Prabhupada's sister, Bhavatarini Didi, known as Pishima affectionately, she said, what? She said, oh, there's unlimited opulence in Chaitanya Saraswati. What are you talking about? He goes, no, I heard things are not so much. She said, don't you know Lakshmi Devi is brooming, sweeping the courtyard of Radharani? So Guru Maharaj and Gurudev, they accepted that because she said, the courtyard of Radharani. So we know Yadvanshana Sri Lalana Charatapo. We can defend what she said by quoting many slokas to show the substance of what she said. But this was just from her heart. This was an original expression from her heart. This lady who, beautiful Vaishnavi, who looked like a mirror image of Srila Prabhupada as his sister. What did she do mostly? Cooking for Prabhupada, things like that, giving some sisterly affection and advice, but that this could just appear from her heart. Lakshmi Devi is sweeping the courtyard of Radharani. That's the expression of a Jnana Shunya Bhakta. Hearing that, we all become upgraded, uplifted, improved. Our position improves. It's improving the position of the analysts. The analysts just all got upgraded by the Raga expression. Hare Krishna.